to the Challenge to Change podcast. My name is Hazel, and this podcast is all about the little changes we can all make that will have a positive effect upon planet Earth. If you're new here, welcome. If you've listened before, welcome back. The Challenge to Change podcast has been brought to you on behalf of ANSA Environmental Services. To find out more about ANSA, please visit ansa.co.uk. Let's get into the podcast episode. Welcome to this episode of the Challenge to Change podcast. I am here with Rose King from Rose Refills, which is based in Alsager in Cheshire. And we're going to be talking about refills, ethical products and that kind of thing, a little bit about her business as well. So tell me about Rose's Refills. How did you get started, the history, what got you into it?
Well, it's really stems from our youngest daughter, Chloe, because during lockdown, she was finishing off a master's in sustainability at the Centre for Alternative Technology in Wales. Obviously, she came back here during that time and made us very, very aware. So the garden became, we were a bit like the good life, really. We have got raised beds and all those sorts of things. And we were doing the recycling and all those sorts of things. But it was other little bits that she made us more and more aware of. And it just made me think more about it. Her and her now fiance then moved to Whitchurch. And there is a fabulous zero waste shop in Whitchurch that they started to use straight away. And as soon as I went over there to visit, I was just absolutely in awe of it. And thought, I think this could work in Alsager. I think we've got the right demographic, and people might like to start making a little bit of a difference. So the search began for a property, which took a while, because obviously I'm a new setup, I'm somebody on my own, and people weren't keen. But eventually the people at the letting agent, I think the one lad particularly, got sick of the sight of me. And finally, where I am now, which is on Lawson Road next to the florist in Alsager, became available, and he didn't even put it up for let. He just said, come on, yes, this, and spoke to the company and let me have it. So Rosie's Refills eventually became real, which was terrifying. Wow. So I was teaching. I was teaching before that. I'd taught at the school in Torp Pits for 22 years. I was the nursery teacher, loved it, but I was just I just needed a change, I think, really is the top and bottom of it. And so there we go. And so I thought, right, okay, let's go for it. Like I say, it was terrifying. I'm not going to lie, running your own business and doing all those sort of things. But my mind was made up, and I thought, I just need to make a difference. I need to start. People need to be made more aware. And I think they are aware, but there was nowhere locally. There was somewhere in Newcastle, but sadly she's had to shut, that people could do this easily. So that's how it came about, really.
That's amazing. So how long have you actually been open for now?
Just over a year. October was a year. So we opened in October 2023. And so we've just been over and I've got a really good now base of regular people that come along and refill, so which is great. But then also there's still people finding me, people who live in Alsager come in and say, oh, how long have you been here? I didn't know you were here. And so it's it's I'm still growing, hopefully.
Oh yeah, well, I'm sure. So obviously, you're talking about making a difference, which you absolutely definitely are. So do you think then people are more interested in ethical products now than they say were 5 years ago? Do you feel that is growing sort of as an industry, really, I suppose?
I think it is. There's more. It's more that people are more. It's more accessible, isn't it? I think really because lots of people were doing it online before they were coming to me. Lots of people were having refills from there's different companies which they are now they've stopped, and they're now coming to me with those bottles that they bought online. And although coming to me, I always say to people, it is a little bit more of a faff. You know, it's very easy to go to one of the large supermarkets and do your shopping. You have to think a little bit more about coming
Yeah,
to me. But if they're ordering it online, they've got to think about it. And they've also got to send, often it's those pouches back again. So when you're going off to the post office to send those pouches back, you know, come to me and do that as well.
do
And
it that way.
uh,
Yeah, yeah,
finding that it's easier. Those people that were doing that, which is great, are
yeah.
now coming to me and doing it and saying how much easier it is, because obviously there's more variety as well there, as
Yeah,
you know,
there is.
better.
There is. Obviously, as you know, I do live in Alsager, so of course I do use your refill shop. I'm very keen on helping Planet Earth on a personal level and through through Answer Environmental Services. So,
Yeah,
as you say, there's lots of different things that you can refill. If you're a keen baker, there's options there.
yes,
If you just sort of thought, well, I might maybe try the shampoo or whatever, there's so many different things that you could, if you just wanted to kind of keep it narrow, you could
yes.
do that, or you could refill lots of things as I do, as we do in our household.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I always say to people that come in, if my very early days, particularly, I said if everybody in Alsager and the surrounding area just changed 3 things that they did, that would
Yeah,
have a massive, massive impact. You know,
definitely.
you know yourself, there's bottles that you're using now and have been using several times, so that they're being reused, which is great, and
Yeah,
that's, I think, where some people also worry. They say, well, you know, what can I refill? Whatever you like, is what I say.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it really doesn't matter. So obviously I do dry food as well as liquids. So
yeah,
some people will say, well, my pasta jar's a bit heavy to carry into the village. Have you still got the bag? You bought it from the supermarket. Yes, we'll bring that and refill that.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
There's
and it
options,
doesn't
isn't there?
it, it doesn't have to be difficult. There are ways around it
Yeah,
to be able to make, you know, life easier.
definitely. And you've got paper bags as well
Yes,
in store, so that's another option for something that's
yes,
dry, of course, depending on what you maybe wouldn't want to put flour in there. But pasta, cereal, that
that's
kind of
right.
thing,
Yeah,
seeds, nuts, you can use the paper bag. If you just happen to pop by, then obviously
that's
then you
right.
can recycle, you can perhaps transfer it to another container, recycle your brown paper
Yeah,
bag, as long as it's not contaminated in any way. Of course, that's something that we try and remind people of,
that's right.
through Answer, that the stuff that goes in your recycle bin does have to be fairly clean.
Yes,
But it would
uh,
tend to be, if you've got seeds in a brown
yes,
paper bag,
yeah.
it's going to be clean at the end.
To bring those bags back as well if they haven't got, you know,
Right.
they're
Yeah.
those back as
Mm,
well, because refilling those,
good
which is
point.
great. And obviously they can refill them themselves with whatever, you know,
Yeah.
providing they haven't got any allergies. That is obviously, you mentioning the allergies and the contamination is a big factor. So
Yeah.
very, very conscious about that. And all, I don't have scoops attached to bins and things apart from the inside the flour, which they are sort of not fastened in, but the lids are sealed on those
Right.
ones
Yeah.
because of obviously nut allergies. So every
Mm,
time you've used a scoop, particularly in nuts, I've got a container on the counter where people can put it
yeah.
in there, and I wash them every time, because you have got to be obviously very careful of
Absolutely. Yeah.
those things. Yeah.
That should be reassuring for people as well that haven't done it before, and perhaps they
Yes.
have allergies, that that side of it is kept safe and is accounted for.
Yes.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, do you feel then that people do save money then by choosing refillables, or is it a bit of a
I
mixed bag?
think it's a bit of a mixed bag. So there are certain things that, yes, you definitely save money on: herbs and spices, and some. Well, particularly if you're baking, and if, like me, you're not really a baker, and then suddenly you're going to be, you can just buy the amount that you require. What
Yeah.
is great is that a lot of parents from high school children are coming in, because if they've got cookery classes, you know, the home
Mm,
economics, and again, if they as a family they don't use those ingredients, they're
yeah.
coming in and they're able to save having to buy a full bag of something.
Yeah.
it was Christmas, not last year, the year before, actually. A single dad come in and he told me I could share this story with people, and I have done lots. And, and his lad had just started at the high school, and he
Yeah.
was baking, and he needed, now what was it now? I think it was some sort of, it was soft brown sugar, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
came in and he said, "Have I got any?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh no, icing sugar. Beg your
Okay.
pardon."
Right.
And he said, "Have you got any icing?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I only need 50 grams." He said, "I would have had to have bought a box full and I wouldn't have used it." And so he came and just bought his 50 grams. So in that effect,
Amazing.
yes, it is saving money. So like I say, herbs and spices do. If you're a single person and you're just buying smaller amounts, I'm not sure it saves money, but it saves wastage. You know,
Yeah.
if you're buying
That's a good point.
like my dad will often buy just like a couple of noodles, like, because that's all he needs, because
That's
he,
all it
you know, he
was.
doesn't use them massively regularly. And
Yeah.
I know they don't go off, but you know, it just means he's only buying what he requires.
What he needs, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, if you're thinking about flour and icing sugar, I mean, I think flour, I mean, it doesn't go off, I don't think as such, but it can get damp. So if you do have
Yes.
too much of it,
So if you know,
yeah,
if like me, it sits in your cupboard for quite a while because you know you don't you don't use it
you
very
don't
often.
use it.
It can,
Yeah.
I forget what they're called now, but there's a word that they get
I
in
know what
them.
you
So
mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've seen
those
those before in the past, actually. They're
yeah.
yeah, little like yeah, little bugs that get
They
in.
do have a specific name, don't they? But I can't
Yeah, I
for
can't
the
think
life
of
of
it.
me remember what they are. So yeah, so it is a mixed bag with the liquids. I don't think the liquids really are necessarily cheaper. I think you could probably go to one of the supermarket, or even one of these, you know, saver shops, and
Yeah,
get fabric softener, let's say, for example, you know, a huge great a bottle full for a lot cheaper. But that's not my objective. Obviously, the objective is
absolutely.
to save the plastic waste. Now, before I was filling my bottles up with from my shop, I was
Yeah,
using the health food shop around the corner from me, which
yeah,
again is great for certain things.
yeah,
And I've
absolutely.
had the bottle I've been using since long before lockdown for my laundry liquid and lots of other, like my cleaning bottle, spray
Mhm.
bottles and things like that. So you've got to weigh up, haven't you?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
you want to do really. If you're on a budget, I wouldn't advise you to probably buy the liquids. And I say that to people, you know, but what I do advise also is the beauty of it is, Hazel, is that if you're changing your laundry liquid, you know, when you change your laundry liquid and you
Mm,
buy some or and then it doesn't suit you, you're then stuck with a packet full of it. Whereas I advise people to just buy a small amount to
good
try,
point. Yeah.
and then
See
you
how
know
you
if
go.
it doesn't, yeah, if it doesn't suit them,
Mhm.
they're not stuck with it and a
Yeah,
great big amount. But they're all paraben and sulfate free and plant based. All of the liquids are,
right,
so
right.
they're great for the environment. When they go down into the water system, they're not in fact affecting the plants and animals.
That's another good point. So, you know, obviously, as you say, you're saving on plastic waste. You know, you are having that positive impact on the planet, but also there is that environmental positive impact as well. So
Yes,
it's another thing to consider. You know, and I suppose for people, it is kind of weighing up those options as to what is important to them.
yes,
You know, but even if they did just you know, buy the flour and the icing sugar, maybe some herbs and spices, there is still that positive impact on planet Earth that you're having, you know, and then you
absolutely.
might, you know, further down the line, oh, actually, maybe I will try the shampoo, maybe I will try the conditioner, you know, and then you're doing even more, so you don't necessarily have to do everything, but
And I think that's what's happening. You know, people
mm,
are just popping in and doing that. You know, there's been a big on my social media. There's a lot been said about the herbs and spices because they are one of the things that are such a lot cheaper. But so
yeah,
lots of
much
times
cheaper.
people come in to do that, and then they'll you know the next time they'll come in and do just maybe one other thing. And you know, because I've now got customers who started just filling a few herbs and spices, and now because they've realized, you know, the impact it's having, and that, oh, actually, I'm filling this jar again. And, you know, people get a real buzz out of that.
Yeah,
And so they're bringing other things when they, you know, when they come in to try, this is empty now, you know, I'm going to fill this up. And
yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah, I think people do get a good feeling when they do it. I think it gives you a good, a good feeling when to know that you're doing it. And like I say, you can't do everything, but if you just do a
No,
bit.
we can't necessarily, we can't be perfect human beings all of the
No.
time, but it does make a difference. And in fact, that actually does lead me to another question. So some people might sort of say, well, does it make a difference? If I do this, how much of an impact is that going to have on planet Earth? I know certainly I've had those dialogues with people where they feel, well, is it going to make a difference? I'm just one person. So what would you say to that? I've thrown this question at you rather out of
Well, do
nowhere.
you know, it's funny you should say that. So my daughter gave, because I sometimes do go and speak to people, gave me some facts. So here's a really interesting fact here. So it
Yeah.
says here, on average, we consume about 5 grams of microplastic each week. So that's the weight of a credit card each of us
Goodness.
are consuming a week due to the plastic pollution in the ocean or the
Oh
water.
my goodness. That's
So
shocking, isn't it?
it is. It's absolutely shocking,
Yeah.
isn't it? So that alone is a good reason to
Yeah.
be doing it. Remind me of your question.
So it was can one person really have that
Oh,
much impact upon planet Earth?
yeah, I think they can. Like I say, if you're using that same bottle, even if it's only laundry liquid, and if you're using that again, that's stopping it. So again, another fact that my daughter gave me: the world
Yeah.
produces 350 million tons of plastic per year. 82 million tons is littered or dumped, and 19 million tons is leaked into the environment.
So those figures there provided by Rose from Rose's Refills are figures based on the world rather than Cheshire East. And as many residents will already know, here in Cheshire East, the recycling rate for 2021 to 2022 was 56.3%. And in terms of black bin waste, we work hard to divert that waste away from landfill and send those curbside collections for black bin waste to an energy from waste facility. Of course, it is important here in Cheshire East, within the UK, and indeed right across planet Earth, to do all we can to really step it up for planet Earth. Let's hear more from Rose from Rose's Refills.
So
Yeah.
that one bottle, I think, yes, can
Yeah,
can make
I agree.
it's only small, but it will make a difference, won't it?
It
Uh,
will, and the more people that do it, I'm one person, you're one person, but there are lots and lots of one people out there
yes,
wanting to put it a better way than that. But collectively, it adds up to more, doesn't it? And
it
you
does.
know,
It absolutely does. And I think, the more one per people we can get, if everybody, well, and they do, lots of people are saying, I've told my friend and I've told, and people come in and say, oh, I've been hearing all about you, and something my
yeah,
friend told me. And that's all. If everybody who comes in now just tells one person and that person comes in,
yeah,
that's it.
it
I
adds
think
up.
we're not going to save the planet, are we? Rose's Refills isn't going to save the planet, but we can make a small contribution towards
Absolutely,
it. And
absolutely.
and so yeah, I think we've got to all think, yes, I can make a difference.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think. Do you think that we in the future? Do you think we could see more organizations doing the kind of valuable work that you're doing? So, you might there be part of a supermarket that has a little bit of a refill section. Do you think that could be, the society of the future? Are we heading that way or
Well, I mean, there are big supermarkets that have tried it, aren't there? I don't know whether you're aware. The
right?
one down at Woolstanton had for food, the gravity bins that I have,
Okay.
with the food in.
Yeah.
But they've actually, unfortunately, it's closed because I think the problem they were having, I believe, is that trying to keep it restocked was the issue, trying to keep it on top of it. It'd be great, wouldn't it, if we could go to the and some
Yeah.
countries, I know there are supermarkets abroad that do
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. I was aware of
Um,
that. Yeah.
but I
Okay.
think I think the they can only have the gravity bins, which are the ones with the handles, because obviously then people aren't touching the produce. Because if
Yeah,
we
of
have the
course.
scoop bins like I've got, there's then the issue with, this it's cross contamination and the
Yeah,
scoops. So
yeah.
they
Too
need
many people,
somebody.
isn't it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think they probably need somebody manning it all the time, and maybe that is what's happened, is the issue. People have said who've come to me and said they've been down there to get, I don't know, nuts or what have you, and they've been empty because
yeah,
there's nobody there to fill it up. And again, it's because it's a bigger space, isn't it? And there's more people doing it. I'm
yeah,
able to stay on top of it because it's a smaller space, and I
yeah.
can keep my eyes on it.
Absolutely, and that's your focus. Yeah, I can kind of see that actually. The logistics of it would
I
be
think,
tricky.
yeah, I think
Mm.
perhaps we need to, people need to go and observe and see how they're doing it abroad, because they are making it
Mm.
work. But
Yeah, true.
so what is it that they are doing differently? And
Yeah,
to be fair, I don't know whether they do liquids, but it'd be great, wouldn't it? Like you said, we don't want to put myself out of business, but it'd be great if people could go to the supermarket and do it, because they'd be more inclined potentially, because it is, if you're just going to one,
yeah,
having to go to one place to do it.
yeah. And I suppose probably for people that that convenience thing could be a barrier, and I suppose another barrier might be people sometimes like to do what they've always done. I
Yes.
think if I'm sort of thinking about my parents, they are perhaps a little set in their ways. Well,
Yeah.
this is what we do, this is where we go. So doing something different for some people might just seem just a little bit
Yeah.
too scary. And I kind of get that. I'm someone that doesn't always want to kind of step out of my comfort zone,
Yeah.
but my experience of using refills is really, really positive. And you do have to plan a little bit. You
Yes.
kind of, you've got to sort of think ahead a little bit and that kind of thing. But I will hold my hands up and say I am not the world's best planner. I'm not. But despite that, it works for me. It works in our household. Despite the fact that I'm not the best planner, we kind of, yeah,
Well,
we find
yeah, you have to
the
find your way to make it work,
yeah,
don't you? And I
yes.
mean, lots of people have different ways, but what a lot of people are tending to do is they have what some people are calling their Rosie's bag. And so they've got a bag that they keep
Awesome.
in the boot of the car or in the utility or by the front door, whatever
Yeah.
space. And a lot of people do have, particularly with the liquid refills, one
Mm.
to wash, one to wear, for want of a better description. So
Ah,
when there's one empty, they're putting it in the Rosie's bag, and they've still got the other one on the side. And then once they've got a few in there, they're then coming to refill. So that's,
that's cool.
it is, but getting into some sort of routine that suits you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I'm very impressed by that routine. I can't say that mine is anywhere near as organized as that. I have it in my mind and then I can't kind of sort of, look for the things. So I don't even have a bag set aside. But that's impressive. I might feel inspired by that going forward and try and be. We'll
Oh,
see.
I
Don't
look
hold me
forward
to
to
it
it.
though. This probably won't happen. But yeah. So final question then for you, Rose. So what do you think the future is then for Rose's refills?
I really hope the future is, that I'm going to be here for a long time. I want to expand the range. I want to expand to more, well, organic things. I haven't really. A lot of people who are doing refilling like to do sort of organic things, so I'd really like to do that. I need to expand into some gluten free and those sorts of things to make it more accessible
Yeah.
to those people who have got specific needs. I've got a fabulous Saturday girl, Ellie, but eventually, because I'm getting on a bit now, I would love to be able to employ
Oh, bless.
somebody to, maybe so I could have, a day off here and there. But
Yeah.
the very long term plan is that Chloe, my daughter, who is the inspiration behind it, is that we'd really like to eventually give it to her so that she can take it on. So as and when
Yeah.
it's making enough money for me to be able to take a decent wage, that is the long term plan, that that we have passed it on to her, because she's got so many ideas and so many things that she would do. And also she's young, and she's got that sort of like energy behind her, and she's completely into all this. She's getting married in August, and we're having a completely sustainable wedding, and so which is fabulous. So yeah, that the long-term plan is that you'll see less of me and you might see Chloe, and so that we can expand even more into absolutely make Alsager even more sustainable is the long-term plan, really. If we can get more, every household doing a little bit of something, that would be great. And it's reaching out to those other people. I have been to the WIs and different places and given some talks, and it is. But the one age range that is the most difficult to reach is those that are 30s and 40s. So the younger people, like my daughters who are in their 20s, really keen. They're busy, but they're very keen because they've been brought up and they don't know any different. The 50 pluses as well, because again, perhaps they've got more time. It's those people with families and busy lives, which are the ones that are really hard to be able to, not that they don't want to do it, but be able to engage, to get them to engage in it, because of the time factor is the issue. I've got, they all follow me and they've got lots of, they really like to do it, but it's the time factor because they've got busy lives and families. So that's another goal, is to be able to try and reach out to those people. And again, it's a long way off, but some sort of delivery service would be, absolutely fabulous.
Wow, yeah, I hadn't even contemplated that, but yeah, I can see how that would
help
really work.
those people,
it would help you reach those people. And I suppose with a lot of kind of, I guess, business models, they're focusing perhaps on a particular demographic, but with something like this, because it's environmental, because there's like a feeling and a social change kind of almost behind it, you kind of want to reach everybody. It's not just one demographic, it's all kinds of different people and different age groups, and so forth.
Like I say, it's not that they don't want to do it, it's the fact that they haven't really got the time to, it's hard to make the time to do it. And of course they can't even really, it's more difficult to do it online. They couldn't even do me an online order, then come in, because I need to have, their bottles and things. So it would have to be they'd have to perhaps drop off, and then, or even I'd pick up their Rosie's bag and then take it back to them, if they had that sort of system. But that so like I say, long term, Chloe's in doing the job and doing it with lots more enthusiasm and young energy, and we can reach out to more people and make more people aware of reducing plastic waste and the impact that it has on the environment.
Wonderful, amazing. Well, I really hope that all of that happens. I feel it will. I think I'm it feels to me that it's growing. It's always busy when I come in, so that that's really encouraging. So I really hope that will happen, and I just hope globally as well, and not just in Cheshire East, but I hope globally more and more people do think more about the planet and just even just do a few more things to make a difference, and then collectively it'll add up to a big change. So
absolutely, yes, definitely.
So thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I always enjoy talking to you, but this is the first time that we've done it and recorded our conversation. So thank you so much. And
thank you, Hazel. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. So that was me, Hazel Leese-Dixon, talking to Rose, the proprietor from Rose's Refills in Alsager. If you haven't tried refillables before, give one a try today. Perhaps there is a refill shop where you live or maybe just nearby. Why not have a look online and find out what the options are? You really can make a difference by shopping in this way. And as you will have found during my conversation with Rose, there are lots of different things that you can refill, and many refill shops also sell other things like zero waste soap bars, shampoo bars, and other products as well. So why not give them a try? Finally, before closing this podcast episode, it is important to recognise all of the wonderful recycling that does take place here in Cheshire East. So thank you to the residents of Cheshire East for doing their best to recycle. Those recycling efforts really do make a difference. But of course, here in Cheshire East and right across planet Earth, there is always a little bit more that we can do to have a positive impact on our wonderful planet Earth. And certainly refillable products is one way that you can help to achieve that positive impact. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode, and I will return for another episode really soon. Bye for now.